Hello everyone, welcome back to the piano workshops. This time it's 102. We are going to continue where we left off basically with 101. So we're going to do some extended chords and also learn a new groove again to help with the left and right hand independency. So let's just jump right in and get to it. Alright, if all is well, then you're now already able to play all the basic inversions of the triads, of the basic major and minor triads. So a C chord would look like this, and then all the inversions are those, right? And the same for minor, and also the different, in all keys. If you're not able to do that yet, go back to 101 or keep practicing and then come back. Now we're going to talk about extended chords. Basically all an extended chord is literally the chord but then extended with extra notes. So for instance, the basic major chord, let's take C, would be the C, the E and the G note. Also the third, major third and the fifth. But we can extend those, and today we're going to talk about the 7, 6, 7 and the 9, 9, how to add those, because we're not going to be able to play this chord all the time. You have to have very big hands, which not everyone has, and how to incorporate those in progressions that you already know. So let's jump right in. Alright, so how do we go about finding these extensions of all the basic chords? It's easier than you might think, but it does require you to kind of know your way around all the scales. So let's go to C major, for instance, C major scale, and let's get the C major chord. The basic root of the C, the basic root position of the C chord will be this, and then we would play the C, the E, and the G, the first, the root, the third, major third, and the fifth, and then we're just going to continue counting upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our 7, the B, and the 8, 9. 9 would be our 9, which makes sense. So let's focus on the 7th for now. This is a C major 7. There's also a thing called a flat 7, but that's for later. Let's focus on this major 7. Now we have this shape, and it sounds immediately different than what we had first. So this is a normal C chord. And if you add a 7, it gets a bit more melancholy, I think. But this isn't the most ideal way to play it, or we can figure out different ways by inverting it again. So let's just find different inversions, and we do that just basically the same way we did it before. Just flip a note up or down. So what if I don't want the C here and I want it up? You get kind of a cluster here, but it could be nice. What also really works is just skipping that root altogether, because we're already playing it with the left hand, so we know it's a C, it's in the bass. We don't really need that to double. And now we can just kind of invert this. So what if we played this major 7 here, down here? Different inversions, and this is basically, if you play it like this, it's an E minor chord, right? Now it would be E minor, but if you play the C in the bass, then it changes and it becomes a C major 7. Then we can go to A minor, which is nice because in the right hand we don't have to move anything, and it's still a different chord. in the key of C, there's another chord that uses a major 7, which is the F major, the 4th chord. Because then we would just do the same trick. F is 1, A is the 3rd, C is the 5th, and just 5, 6, 7, and we're down to an E. And there we have F major 7. We can do the same trick, just ditch the root in your right hand, which gives it the kind of a more open sound. And again, you're basically playing an A minor chord right now, but with the F in the bass, it becomes the F major 7. Together with the C major 7. You see, it gets a bit more sad when you play all those major 7s. If we were to play F and C in their basic forms like this, or with the major 7, you see it's a bit more I don't know the right word, but I hope you get what I mean by this. Alright, let's move on. Alright, so we can also add 7s to minor chords. Let's see how that works. So let's, for now, stay safely in our C major key, and let's go for A minor. So we got the chord A minor, and you know all the inversions. Now again, just the same trick. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. As long as you use notes that are in the key of, in this case, C, then you can't go wrong. And we have a G right there, and the G makes it a A minor 7. Like this. But we can go and invert it again, so let's play the G here, down here. Maybe we can ditch the root again in our right hand, so it gets more open. And we're basically playing a C chord, but with the A in the bass. It gets to be the A minor 7. And it just gives a nice extra sound to your chord. And it works the same way on all the minor chords in this key. So for D minor, we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the C, and A minor, E minor, so we can just lift it all up, because then we have E minor, 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, with the D up top. Those are all the minor chords in their root positions right now. But we can also ditch the root again. And maybe play some inversions. Right? It gets way more interesting. So there's still 2 chords in the key of C that we haven't talked about regarding adding a 7th. Those are the G major chord and the B diminished chord. B diminished is basically because it's a diminished chord, but it works the same. So it's just the B is the 1, 3 is the D, flat 5 in this case would be the F, and then 6, 7. So now you have a B half diminished chord. And the G7, it works the same as well, but it's not a G major 7, because, well, just watch, this is a G, B, D, and if we wanted to add a 7, but staying in the key of C, we just go 5, 6, 7. But notice that this is a different 7 than we've played with the F and the C chord. This is a flat 7. In the case of the C and the F, the 7 was just a half step below the root, so it's just a half step down. It's the easy way to find the 7. For F, half step down. And E, that's the 7. For G, it doesn't work that way because a half step down would be an F sharp, but that's not in the key of C, so we have to move one down even further to the F. It gives it a very dominant feel to it. It's a dominant chord, G7. It really wants to resolve to C. Oh, because C is the root of our key. So G7, it's basically a dominant chord. We can also again skip the root, basically playing a B diminished with our right hand. You see, you could add the root if you want, but it's not necessary. And there we have all our 7 additions in one key. Alright, so before we're going to talk about how to practice this, let's see if we can translate this away from the key of C, which is a very safe key, you know, all white keys are good to go. So let's go to maybe E flat. So we go to E flat, which has all these keys: E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, and back to E flat. So let's go and see if we can add 7 to every chord. So we're just gonna do the same trick. So it's E flat major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where your knowledge of, you know, all the different keys comes in handy. And you just go 6, 7, and there you have our E major 7, F minor 5, 6, 7, G minor 6, 7. Once you kind of get familiar with all the keys, it's really easy to add a 7 everywhere. So it's very important that you kind of know your way around. Alright, so now we're going to talk about how to practice this. I've always found that the best way to practice these kind of extended chords is with the 2-5-1 progression. So if we take a look at the key of C, 1 would be the C chord, 2 would be D minor, 3 E minor, 4 F, 5 G major, and so on. So 2-5-1 would be D minor, 5 would be G, and 1 would be C. Now let's go about and adding a 7 to all of those chords. So we got a D minor 7, with a C makes it a minor 7, G 7, which is a flat 7, and a C major 7. So in this progression we've got a flat 7 and a major 7. Now let's try to not jump as much, so let's invert 1. So our first chord is okay, but let's, and so the 2 and the 1 are obviously close by, so we gotta find a way to get that 5 also close to the 2 and the 1. So let's just do it like the way we did all the inversions. Let's just flip some notes. So this F I'm gonna play over here, and this D I'm gonna play over here. So this is my new G7. And now the D minor would be this, G7 would be this, and C major would be this. See, it's way less effort than jumping my hand all over the piano. So once more, D minor would be this, D, F, A, C, G7, D, F, G, so we're only having to move top 2 notes, and for C major 7 we're only going to have to move the bottom 2 notes. And there we have the C major 7. And now this is just one key, but the very nice way of playing it like this is that once we've reached C, we can treat the C as like the new 2 of our next key. So let's just make this minor. Let's make this C minor 7. So how to do it is just first making it minor, and the minor 7 would be this. And now this is our new 2, so that means that B flat is the 1. So C minor 7, F 7, F, E flat making it the 7, F and A, and then back to the 1, B 7, major 7. And now we can just continue. Let's make this one a minor chord. You see, and that way we can play all the keys, and of course in this way we're lowering the root each time with the whole step. So we're going to do, if we start on a C chord, so with a D minor, you're going to play all the keys C, B flat, A flat, G flat, E, D, and back to C. So if you want to play the other keys, then you will have to start on a half step above or below it, because it moves a whole step up or down the way you play this. Alright, let's talk about adding a 9 to all the chords. For this you basically do the same as you did with the 7, but just add on the same way, add a 9. So C major 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 would be the D. So again, it's important that you know all the scales, and it becomes much more important to figure out which notes we actually want to play, because this is not a grip that everybody can get with one hand. So a note you can almost always ditch is the root, because you either got the bass player playing it in the band, or you got your own left hand playing it. So let's skip the root. Now this is our C major 7 with the 9 chord. Let's again try to inverse it by just adding notes, flipping notes up or under. So let's get this D down and the B down. So that's the C major with a 9. Let's go to a minor chord, so A minor with a 7, and just go 7, 8, 9. Again, let's ditch the root, and there we have our A minor 9 basically. You can also invert this, of course. Alright, let's go to the G7, because that's a flat 7. G7, 7, 8, 9. And then we have our G9 chord. Let's ditch the root again, play it with our left hand. And there it is. You can also, of course, invert this. And then we have basically all the forms of the 9. Let's see if we can add it to our exercise that we've come up with earlier. So instead of playing these chords, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, let's see if we can add a 9 to all of those chords. So for D minor, it would be 7, 8, 9. So let's ditch the root for this exercise again. This is our D minor 7. For G7, which is this chord, ditching the root, and maybe flipping those two notes up top down, it will be this. So this is our G7-9 chord, 7, 9, 3, 5, and the root we play in the left hand. So then we've got D minor 9, G9, and C9 will be this. So we basically just moved our hand a bit. So this was the original, D minor 7, G7, C major 7. Now we're going to move it all up a third. So we have the 9, D minor 9, G9, and C major with that 9 again. And of course this is also doable with the exercise, so let's make this a minor again. G minor with the 9, F7 with the 9, and the B flat 7. No, yeah, B flat 7, major 7. And the C makes it a 9. Alright, so now we're going to move on to a new groove in which we're also going to see some chords, some extended chords with a 7 and a 9. So we can put that newfound knowledge to use, and we're going to play the song called Havana by Camilla Cabello. I don't know how to pronounce her name exactly, but I'm sure you got it. It's basically 3 chords, but it's a very nice groove. In its basic form, it's maybe quite easy, but we're going to add something to really make it a little bit more difficult. So let's go. Alright, this is the basic groove. It goes like this. Alright, this progression, this groove is 3 chords, and it's almost exactly the same twice over, only it ends slightly different the second time. So let's just first look at the chords with the right hand. We're basically playing all the quarter notes on the 2 and the 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So let's see what those chords are. We're starting with the basic G minor in the root position, no 7s, no 9s, just a G minor, very basic. Then we're going to play an E flat major 7, but which would be this, E flat major and the major 7 right there. But we don't really have to play that E flat because it's already in the bass, so the right hand just keeps on playing basically a G minor triad, but because the bass now plays an E flat, it becomes a major chord, and then a D7 at the end, so that's D and D7, so it's not a major 7, it would be this, but it's a flat 7. And again, the root note isn't played because it's already in the bass. So then we are left with this F sharp, A and C. And that's all the right hand does. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But there's something else that they add at the end of each D chord, at the end of the last one in the bar, and that's this sound, which is very cool. What it is a, let's just see if we can figure it out. What they play is a, so it ends just on the D, the root, and before the D they play an E flat, and normally a D9 in this case would be this E. This is a basic D9 chord. When they play an E flat, it's called a flat 9. So it's a D flat 9, kind of resolving to a normal D7. To go back to the G minor, because that's a 5. And the second time around, instead of going from the top down, it goes from the 7 up. So then it goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Get it? So the first time we're going, and the second time it's. Alright, so now that we've got the right hand chords down, let's check out what the left hand does. With the metronome, it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also see it in the notes here somewhere. Both of them separate aren't that hard. Let's just see if we can put them together. Again, let's start very slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, let's play it with the original tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, if you may think this groove, if you think that this groove is a bit easy for you, there's a simple way to make it a lot harder. So let's try that. Alright, all you have to do to make it a bit harder is, instead of playing the chords on the 2 and the 4, let's play a double time. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it works up until the last, when we gotta add those flat 9 and the 7 to the 9. Those are normal, but the rest is all on the offbeat. So 1 and 2 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So let's just play that really slowly again and see how that sounds together with the bass. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Alright, so of course that's nowhere near what it sounds like in the original song. This is only just for another exercise for the independency of the left and the right hand. And now the original tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, and there you have it. It's the groove of Camille Cabello. This is the harder version. The original is a bit easier, but still a nice exercise. Try to maybe alternate each time you play it. Alright, so that's it for this Piano 102 video. So we got the chords, extended chords, the major with the 7 and the 9, the flat 7 and a 9, we've got the minor 7. Try to exercise those with the 2-5-1 progression, really get to know it in all the keys, get comfortable. Also played it with the left hand. I didn't get into that as much today, but those voicings, those rootless voicings, play them with the left hand, very important. Okay, that's it for Piano 102. So we've got the chords with the 7 and 9s. Try to play them with the 2-5-1 progression that I showed you, and really get to know each of those chords. So you know the C minor 7, C major 7, and the C flat 7, and the B minor 7, the B major 7, the B flat 7, and so on and so on. And we've got the new groove to work on. You can play it along with the song. Really try to experiment with the right hand. You know, rhythmic. Do you want to play quarter notes? You know, it's 1, 2, and 4 on an offbeat. Try to get as much variation as you can and get comfortable with it. And then I'll see you next time for 103. So I good luck with the practicing. Bye.